Hi there and welcome again. Not long to go now, just 1 week, and we'll be celebrating the big birthday in families all over the country and giving thanks to God for his great love for us. Today I want to share one of the gospel texts from this week's Masses, or one of this week's Masses, and it's a delightful scene where Jesus comes into the temple and presumably into the portico where the courtyard, which is surrounded by covered porticos, and he's teaching there. And he's come in from Bethany because during this week, Jesus is sleeping in Bethany for safety's sake. And he comes in the day after he has just cleared the temple of money changers and the sellers of offerings. Part of the temple, shall we say, money-raising scheme. Not that the temple didn't need money. There were approximately 50,000 people involved in and around the temple. So Jesus comes in and he's teaching. And it causes a little concern because the authorities, the chief priests and the elders, are not happy with the message that this Galilean carpenter is offering. So they come to confront him on the issue of authority. They are the authority in the temple. The chief priests and the elders, they do the teaching, they do the decision making, they do the planning in the temple. They're official. They have studied. They're prepared. And they have local authority. But then Jesus is a Galilean carpenter, followed by a fairly mixed rabble of followers. And he's just made a scene the day before in the temple of casting out the money changers. And here he is teaching again. So the chief priests and the elders come to him and say, "Hey, listen, by what authority are you doing this?" And Jesus says, "Well, if you answer me a question, I'll certainly tell you by what authority." He said, "John's baptism, was that from God or from man?" And they realized they couldn't answer. Because if they said from God, then why didn't they follow him? If they said just from man, the people could be up in arms. So they said, "We can't answer." And Jesus said, "I'm not going to answer either." But I wanted to look at what authority Jesus did have. And one of those sources of his authority, of course, was being the Messiah. He was on a designated mission from God to realize the mission of this long-promised Messiah, Saviour. And likewise, he knew himself to be the beloved Son of God. He'd received that experience after his baptism. And likewise, Jesus was perceived by many, and probably understood himself, as a prophet. He had the authority of a prophet. And the prophets were sent by God. But he also had an authority to serve. Jesus himself says, "I have come not to be served, but to serve and give my life." And he did. And so these three authorities were in the man. And so the people were able to say that this Jesus teaches with authority, not like our scribes and Pharisees. because he had that intimate relationship with the Father. And as we know, he used to spend time going off alone to pray, to be with the Father. And it was that connection, that intimacy, that knowledge, that awareness that gave Jesus something of the authority with which to realize his mission as the Messiah. And we're coming to Christmas. And I was just wondering, what authority do we have? Whether it be as parents, as kids, as neighbours, as friends, what authority do we have? We are all loved sons and daughters of God. We are also called upon to make a critical analysis or understanding of the world in which we live, to be prophets. And we are also called to serve. And that's probably nowhere more evident when it comes to the Christmas dinner. Everybody serves everybody. Okay, so let's be aware of the authority that we do have. And to celebrate that as we join together to celebrate the birthday of Jesus of Nazareth. Okay, have a great Christmas. Meet closely your family. Share with them your stories, your time, and of course, your presence. God bless. See you later.